Apparently, shipping two characters from different franchises is called a crack ship because their love can never be. However, I don't think you have to be on crack to see how Raven from Teen Titans and Ienzo or Zexion from Kingdom Hearts would be perfect for each other. Originally, Zexion and Roxas were going to go on a mission to Jump City and run into the Titans there. After defeating the Heartless, Roxas talks to the Titans while Zexion hangs back. Raven approaches him, surprising him. He feels an attraction to her immediately, while she finds him interesting and invites him to visit again sometime. She senses something off about him, but as an empath she can tell his emotions are real and tells him as much on a subsequent visit. He tries to tell Vexen about it, but Vexen scoffs at this. Another way it could have gone is if she showed up in the world that never was by accident, in the same way that she would show up at Castle Oblivion by accident. In the former scenario, Xigbar is also present and is egging on the relationship as a shipper on deck. "I see you made a new friend," Xigbar remarked, amused. "I thought you were taking a nap. Were you spying on me?" Zexion asked. "Spying? As if. I was concerned. You don't usually go check these things out by yourself. So I asked myself, what could be out there that would interest a teenage boy? Turns out it was a teenage girl. Ha! Mystery solved. You won't tell anyone about this, will you? Now where's the fun in that? This is your first crush. I'm going to enjoy keeping it to myself and cheering you on from the sidelines." Xigbar punched him encouragingly on the shoulder. Zexion didn't know whether to be grateful or disturbed by this, so all he said was, "Ow." Either way, Raven ends up rescuing Zexion from his fate at the hands of the Riku replica and takes him back to the tower. To Raven's horror, when she exited the portal to the common room, she found Zexion being choked out by replica Riku while Axel watched. "No!" Raven shouted as she blasted the boy choking out her friend. Both he and Zexion fell to the floor. Raven tried to run to Zexion's side, but Axel summoned fire to cut her off. He said, wagging his finger at her. "Big mistake," Raven said. Her eyes started to glow red, and inky black tendrils shot out of the darkness surrounding her. Axel was knocked on his ass before he could react. "Stay down," Raven warned. No one moved. She put out the flames with the tendrils and withdrew them, returning to normal before Zexion could see her demon form. She gathered him up and opened a portal back to her room in the tower. She set him down on her bed and began healing him. He was unconscious due to being deprived of oxygen, but alive. The next day, she goes with him to the grounds outside of Beast's castle to look for Zaldin. This makes her think that kissing Zexion might return him to normal, but of course it doesn't. It confirms that his heart and emotions are real, at least. The story splits from here. Zexion can either stay in his room in Hollow Bastion while he figures out his next move, or he can go back with Raven and join the Titans. Joining in the Titans storyline constitutes a more natural development of his and Raven's relationship. After the Trigon arc, Zexion works up the courage to go back to the world that never was, but it's too late. The Kingdom Hearts moon has been destroyed and everyone's gone. Zexion sinks to despair. He has a nightmare where he has to fight a Norded version of himself. He has another dream where Ansem is wearing a black coat and is waiting for him on a beach in the darkness. If he chooses to remain alone, Raven gives him a communicator and goes home. Riku eventually shows up and takes him to Diz. Originally he would die here, as Diz would have Riku kill him, but with what we know now from Kingdom Hearts 3, Zexion and Diz can just hash it out instead and come to the conclusion that Xehanort lied to both of them. They work together instead, and Zexion dies to Xemnas while trying to protect Diz, telling him to fix their mistakes. He still has the communicator when he reconstitutes and calls Raven. A lot has happened, and she portals to his location to catch up. She's supportive of him during the events of Kingdom Hearts 3. He confides in her how terrified he is and how unqualified he is to take over Radiant Garden in the absence of Ansem and Evan. Alias and Dylan are now the shippers on deck. Dylan pulled Alias outside the room to talk. "How do you think this is going?" "What, them?" Alias asked. Dylan nodded. "I haven't known her much longer than you have, but Ienzo did confide in me when we were nobodies. She makes him happy." "I can see that. So, this is serious?" "Very. He must be just as important to her, then. Good for them." Raven is a bit thrown to find out he's some kind of prince, but she offers to help look for the missing members with mixed results. Kingdom Hearts 3 ends with the clumsy proposal between the two of them. Teen Titans vs. Teen Titans Go reunites the two timelines. Zexion is on the Teen Titans side, and Ienzo is on the Go side. Ienzo explains to Zexion how to become human again and tells him to go home. The rest of the plot plays out with Zexion and Ienzo supporting their respective ravens. Zexion spends one last night in the tower before heading home. Raven goes with him and ends up having to be the one to end his nobody existence, as Alias and Dylan are unwilling to turn their weapons on him. Ienzo can't create portals anymore, but Raven can, and they'll keep in touch. After a time skip in which the Titans move on to other things, Raven leaves Jump City to join Ienzo permanently in Radiant Garden. The first story I wrote for them ended in them breaking up. Disney owns Marvel and not DC, after all, so this could never happen. But I like the ship, and it was more interesting if it were to work out. I'm not a fan of a lot of the comic book incarnations of Raven. The writers are too stuck on her relationship to her father or not being able to control her powers to do anything interesting with her as a character. I would like to posit that even though she was raised to control her emotions on Azarath, she wouldn't be able to start doing that on her own until a few years into her life. I have a 2.5-year-old, and if you try to put her down for a nap or brush her teeth, you're going to meet some fierce opposition. So there had to be some spell or magic circle that would mitigate that, or else Azarath would have been toast much sooner. This will be important as Raven and Ienzo's relationship becomes more serious than the occasional kiss. Ienzo and Raven would probably adopt, seeing as how Ienzo himself was adopted. I did write them having a child of their own, a daughter, but that was also because I myself had a daughter and needed to write as a coping mechanism. In the end, their mutual love of books and practice of suppressing their emotions is what makes this ship make sense, in my opinion. That's all I've got for today, but tune in next time and I'll be talking about another Kingdom Hearts topic. Cheers.